Chapter 29. The Locks knelt and apologized. In the main hall, Octavia's suggestion had clearly moved Damien. He turned his head to look at Alexander. At this moment, Alexander was putting on airs. He snorted coldly. Damien, I wholeheartedly wanted my daughter to marry your son. During this period, we've been worried that your family has been wronged. I never expected Thegis to fool around with women outside. Damien, your son's behavior has indeed disappointed me and my family. It's our family's fault, it's our fault. Damien hurriedly smiled apologetically. I also wish that I could beat that son of mine to death. However, will that solve the problem? After all, he's a lock. No matter how hard I try, I won't be able to cut off ties with him. I want to kick him out too, but when I think about how we still have to cooperate with Muck, I can't possibly ruin our plan, right? That's enough. Alexander didn't seem to care. I, Alexander, can't betray my daughter and let her marry someone like your son for such a small benefit. We're both parents, so I know how you feel. That said, now that the marriage between our families has been announced and the collaboration with Muck has been discussed, isn't it a pity to suddenly break it off? Even if it's a pity, I can't just watch my daughter go down with you. Alex, my family has let you down. Damien was full of sincerity. Indeed, there's nothing I can do to make up for it. The only thing I can do now is that I'm willing to discuss the collaboration with Muck with the Lawrence Enterprise. We'll split the agreed project equally. Alexander was instantly moved. He looked at Damien. Damien also felt like his heart was being cut. He said, during this period, in order to work with Muck, I've invested over $2 billion to build our e-commerce platform. I've bought over a dozen e-commerce companies, and the bank's mortgage has been overdrawn. I won't let you pay the cost. Once the contract is signed, you can work on half of the project. Alexander looked at Damien in disbelief. Everyone knew that the e-commerce platform was the hottest project at the moment. With the arrival of Muck Group, which was the largest group in all of Asia, the e-commerce transaction that could win over Harkin was just around the corner. Damien, will do as I say. Damien affirmed once again. Alexander secretly adjusted his emotions. He looked like he did not care and said, this isn't up to me to decide. Octavia immediately understood. She hurriedly said to Jean, Jeannie, Thegis was muddle-headed for a moment. I guarantee that he won't do anything to let you down in the future. Can you forgive him just this once? Jean's eyes moved slightly. That arrogant woman just now had suddenly become humble. Jean did not say anything. Octavia quickly added, there's no need for you to apologize anymore. I was only trying to scare you just now. How could I really let you do that? Once you become a lock, I'll dote on you more than I can. How could I let you feel wronged? Auntie. Jean interrupted her. Octavia smiled with a kind face. Yes, Jeannie. Do you not mind what happened before this? What are you talking about? When have I ever mind? I was just joking just now. All right then, let's forget about what happened before. Yes. Octavia nodded vigorously, but I need you to explain what happened now. Jean raised her eyebrow. Octavia paused for a moment. She did not expect that Jean would ask for more. Jean said unhurriedly, Auntie, you said that Thegis will never do anything to let me down in the future. I don't know what will happen in the future, but this time, he really did something immoral. Not only did he ruin my reputation, but he also ruined the reputation of my family. Octavia did not look too good. After all, she was being taught a lesson by a little girl. She did not feel good about this. Nonetheless, she could only listen because she was unreasonable. The marriage between the Lawrences and the Locks is based on the principle of mutual benefit. If we break off the marriage, it won't benefit either of our families. I'm willing to accept your suggestion to help save Thejua's image. I knew that you're a good girl, Jeannie. I'll surely treat you well in the future. But, Jean said to Octavia, I need Thegis to kneel and apologize to me. He must promise that he'll never do it again. Octavia's expression changed slightly. Before she could speak, Jean added, if I remember correctly, Thegis said that you acquiesced to what he did, so I think. Octavia looked at Jean. You should also apologize to me, Auntie. Jean said firmly. Everyone looked at Jean. For a second, they were stunned by her imposing manner. At the next second, it seemed like it was just an illusion. In any case, Jean was being reasonable. If the Locks were sincere, there was no reason for them to refuse. Damien did not even think twice. He said to Octavia and Thegis, didn't you hear what she says? Hurry up and apologize. Thegis was displeased. What right did he have to apologize to Jean, who was a married woman? Why should he even kneel and guarantee that he would not repeat his mistake? What right did the woman have? Thaddeus. Damien's face darkened. Octavia pulled her son over. Kneel and apologize. Thaddeus looked at Octavia. Octavia winked at him. Thaddeus held back his anger. He knelt in front of Jean unhappily. I'm sorry. And, Jean asked, I promise that I'll never do anything to let you down again. What if you do? Thaddeus glared fiercely at Jean. What if you do? Jean continued to ask while smiling. Her aloof and indifferent look could infuriate one to one's death. I'll be struck by lightning. Thaddeus roared loudly. Jean smiled. It'll be realized very soon. She said, all right, I forgive you. Thaddeus stood up from the ground in a very unhappy manner. There would be a day when he would take revenge. Jean turned her head to look at Octavia. Given her age, Octavia still had to apologize to a little girl. If word got out, how would she, the wife of a prestigious family, face the outside world? She secretly gritted her teeth and said, it was my fault. It was my lack of discipline that caused Thaddeus to do something that wronged you. I'll apologize to you. I'm sorry. It's all right. Jean smiled. It's fine as long as you know your mistake. It seemed like a simple statement, but Octavia was completely humiliated. Octavia was so old, yet she still needed a little girl to teach her a lesson. She would remember this account. Jean completely ignored the thoughts of the mother and the son. She said to Alexander, Dad, I don't want to affect the interests of our families just because of this. I'm willing to face the reporters together with Thaddeus.